Fishing Sunday.
I am. Let's go.
Let's go.
I am.
I'm in.
What? Wait. Can you put that cat down?
Yeah. The cat's in.
I was trying to be a Bond villain. I apologize.
Yeah. It's warm by this fire, Buck.
We're not even in the fire. We need to jump in the current.
We got to cool off in the current.
I just want everyone to know, I mean, we say it all the time. You have 7 best friends when you tune into us every week.
And it's wild because we used to say that, but now it's so real.
And it was just a real existential morning, guys.
God, existential.
Did you short drift them?
Well,
That's a yes.
that's what the Canadians say.
No bueno.
No bueno.
If there is a traditional Canadian saying, no bueno.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Rut and River Pursuits podcast. You're in the current. This is Reality Outdoor Radio, where our mission is to get you in the outdoors by connecting you with the skills, people, and products you can trust.
You can trust
You
them.
can trust them.
I'm Steve.
This is Dave.
I'm Brian.
I'm Catfish.
Gentlemen,
Did I hear catfish?
you heard catfish.
Oh. What? I am excited.
Me too. Bucky, why don't you tell us about this month's sponsor?
Hey, I'll tell you guys about this month's sponsor, and we're fired up for them. Smoking the Grove. You can't get any more American than a good old barbecue competition. Mm-hmm. This year's Red Hot competition is being brought to you by Kenny's Market, your hometown market.
Love that market.
And is being held July 26th and 27th in Spring Grove, Pennsylvania. Come on out Friday night to kick things off with the First Responder Cup, People's Choice Wing Competition, and cap off the night with some live entertainment by Brittany Opperman. And you'll not want to miss the main event on Saturday, where teams will be competing in a Kansas City Barbecue Society sanctioned state championship event. The winner qualifies for the Jack Daniels World Championship in Lynchburg, Tennessee, and the American Royale in Kansas City, Missouri.
My mouth's watering.
It's like a Royale with cheese.
Teams will also be competing in the People's Choice Pork Contest. This colossal weekend will be capped off by a performance by Velveeta.
Noise.
Get all the details by searching Smoke in the Grove on Facebook and Instagram, as well as the website smokeinthegrove.com.
Guys, let's just get right into it, because it was a big week last week.
It was.
It was. Deke, kick us off. What'd you do?
A whole lot of nothing.
You did a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
I saw a bunch of pictures.
Nah, that wasn't me.
Yeah, it was. Didn't you go perch fishing or something like that?
Oh, yeah. I did a little perch fishing
Come on
fishing
now.
again. It was just a little bit.
Don't sell yourself short with the perch.
Yeah.
Trolling.
So I was out again.
We established that.
This time, though, had a little bit of engine trouble. So I'm out in a 24-foot pontoon boat, and the engine cuts off.
Marburg.
Yeah.
This is a 20 horse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't too far away from the marina where the boat's kept in a slip. And
Any backup motor?
no.
No trolling.
Oh,
No
man.
trolling motor.
Any wind?
A little bit of wind.
Yeah, it's not good in a 24.
And an oar.
But it was going towards where I needed to go, and it wasn't that far. I was probably like less than 600 yards away. But I was trying to get it restarted, and just wouldn't.
How'd you expect to troll without a motor?
I know. You gotta
That's what he's trying to figure
You
out.
gotta
here.
paddle.
Oh.
So I figured I would call it a night, and I started rowing back. And luckily there's 2 doors across from each other on each side. So
Run to one side?
yeah, paddle, run to the other side, paddle. And then finally a boat comes by, and I'm already 3/4 of the way where I needed to get to. And he's like, "Do you need a ride? Do you need a tow?" I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be nice if you're willing, if you have some time." So nice enough gentleman. We toss a rope. He pulls me back in, and we get situated, get it back in the slip. But
I was going to say, it's not easy to do,
No.
put it in this slip
yeah,
without
then
a
so
motor.
it was a little bit of paddling again, for the last 10 yards to get it
You
in
have
the
a
slip.
long rope on your
Yeah.
crank?
Yep. So
That's
it worked
good.
out. But got back, still having some
What's going on with
I
it?
think it somehow,
Bad gas.
yeah, I think a little moisture got in the gas.
Really?
So
That's my. I had the same issue. It's
Yeah.
my third gas tank now.
what we're thinking is the gas can sits out with that boat all the time, and
In the
it's-
water.
Well, the boat sits in the water. It's in a
Yeah.
slip, and the gas can's not in the water. It's on the boat, but
Fair enough.
it's uncovered,
Okay.
so it's exposed. It sits by the motor.
It's just condensation.
Yeah, so we're thinking with the extreme heat we have, it's some condensation, and it just takes a little bit. Because we did try another gas can, and bam, it fired off. It ran.
Oh, no
Well, it's
kidding.
been miserably hot.
Yeah,
You can
so-
walk outside and your glasses are gone.
You're right.
You can't see
Yeah.
through them.
So that was my eventful fishing this week.
Did you catch any perches?
A couple.
Did you?
Yeah.
You eat them?
No, I was throwing them back that night. So
Really?
yeah.
What?
Well, I just got started, and then had a
Oh.
phone call with Will for a little bit of it, and but yeah, so it was good. But luckily, I had a friendly boater that helped me out, get me the rest of the way in. That's the thing. I was like, hey, can I throw you some cash? And
Sack of Moses family jerky.
yeah, and he's like, no, just make sure you help out somebody some other time.
Very
So,
cool.
Wow.
and
Good.
and we've done that. We've looked for, we've seen people in distress, and you
You
always
said
try.
fat chance it's every man for himself out here. When I'm trolling.
I try to help if you can. You gotta do what you can, because you don't want to be in that situation.
Yeah.
That's an unspoken law, though, on the water. If
Yeah,
somebody's
definitely.
in trouble, you just stop what you're doing and help
I
out.
think
Oh, exactly.
Absolutely.
anyone that's ever had a boat or been out on a boat more than twice in their
Yeah.
life has experienced breaking down.
Yeah, and my dad was real worried. He's like, well, and I was just out like a couple days before that with my wife and my daughter, and he's like, oh, I'm so glad it didn't happen while you guys were out. He's glad it just happened to me, and he's real worried about us using it now. I'm like, Dad, you have a boat. There's gonna be problems
Yeah.
eventually,
And that
It
lake's
does,
not-
though.
right? And I'm not in the middle of the Chesapeake.
Yeah.
It does up the anxiety when you have outdoorsmen, non-boaters
Yeah.
with
Right.
you. Yeah,
It does, but that lake's pretty safe no matter what.
Yeah.
So as long as weather doesn't kick up and stuff like that. So
Good thing was too you were able to figure it out too. You just
Yeah.
deduced that it had to be the fuel
You're
and
gonna build a
switched it
cover.
up and
yep, definitely. Yeah, it doesn't want to. The gas tank does not fit in any of the seats.
No.
So it's so we are gonna figure out a little cover to cover it up. So.
If you look over there in the garage, you see mine sitting here.
Yeah.
It does the same thing.
Yep.
I have to keep it out of the boat. So we're going to put one of those cylinder like you see on the back of a rat rod, like an 8-gallon
Oh, those are
aluminum
cool.
things.
aluminum cylinder
Yeah.
in the boat because they don't sweat.
You're right.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
like a fuel cell. Kind
Yes.
of.
Yeah.
fuel
those
cell.
things. That's
Right.
what's going to go in the river cooter here
There you go.
in the next
Yeah.
couple
That
months.
should fix it. But yeah, so that was my adventure for the week.
You should get one of them turn one of the tunes on your pontoon
Yeah.
into a fuel cell.
Right.
Yeah.
That'd be something.
Yeah, you never have to get gas.
Just one side.
Fill up
so
once,
it's
once a season.
it lists to one side.
Yeah, it definitely leans to one side.
Fill it up once a decade.
Brian, what'd you get into this week?
We did a little camping trip up north, Route
Where's
75, past Cowan's Gap State
Did
Park.
you?
Just keep on going, and you'll get to a little town called Port Royal.
Yeah.
And the Juniata River runs right through there.
Oh, was this the
And,
Buttonwood trip?
Yeah.
You
yeah.
went
Nice.
to Buttonwood.
I went to Buttonwood.
I heard a lot about
It's high
that.
class camping. That's
Is
why
it?
Pike
Yeah.
went there.
Yeah. Well,
Is it pretty high class?
it's a
Cushy.
nice.
You got to
like-
fish with a tie on.
like suit and tie camping.
Yeah, they they took the restriction of the cummerbund off. Now it's just a tie.
Do they allow pop-ups there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean there is some primitive tent camping there. It's just a very well kept
That's what
campground.
I've heard.
Yeah, so
A lot of
it's
people
we've
really
been
like
camping
that.
there probably about 6 or 7 years off and on. We were introduced to it through a coworker of my wife's, and we invited my family. Is out of northeastern PA outside of Scranton.
Yeah.
So we looked at an area central in the state that we can meet in, and that seemed to be the area that we have decided on over the last 5 or 6 years.
That's
so it was my dad and mom came down, my brother and his children, and then we have our travel trailer. So that we had 3 travel trailers in 3 consecutive spots, and it was a good time. I was able to get out and do some wet wading the first
because
morning.
that sits right on the Juniata.
Yeah, there's one side of the campground that is actually riverfront that they call, and you're right there along the Juniata, and then the other side of the campground is on the opposite side of the road, which is a little bit away, but to walk is maybe 300 yards total, and they have a nice beach area, and there's a couple pylons down river from where their property is, and so I walked out through there and was out for a couple hours and had one hit on a fluke. Was tried my crankbait. Nothing. Nope. Through a tube. Nothing. And as I'm looking down river, I saw a fish, which I thought was a smallie, chasing some bait fish, and I saw some bait fish rising up out of the water. I said, well, they're after some.
Did you double fluke?
I didn't. I
saw you throwing that rig earlier in the season.
Yeah. That seems to be working out okay. It's a little touchy with casting and
I think you'd have
spinning
a little bit
around
of tangles and whatnot.
Yeah. So
what rig was that? The double fluke.
Double fluke. You take a couple barrel swivels and a small leader, and you offset the hooks, and your one barrel swivel will actually slide up and down on the main line. And if you've never seen it in action, when you do your little retrieve and you pause and then you give that jerk, it looks pretty cool. It's some nice action on those flukes.
It could be killer for flounder too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used it with gulp before. Yeah, that's a nice setup.
Yeah, I'll have to remember that when I get back down to Indian River.
The donkey rig, right?
The donkey rig.
Yeah. I think that's what they call that.
They call it?
Yeah.
But no.
Could you hear the racetrack from that campground?
Yes. Yeah. That was funny you should say that, because it was just getting dark and someone said, man, it's a wonder that we don't hear any cars. And no sooner did my brother say that, you could hear the motors fire up.
Yeah, because Port Royal Speedway is not that far away from it.
Huh. Yeah.
So you can hear the sprint cars. It's an old school
so we heard
track up there.
But yeah, we had a good trip. It was more about seeing my family. I only get to see them 3 or 4 times a year, but got up at 6:30 and before everybody got up and went down and waited for a couple hours and did some fishing. But yeah, had a good weekend. Also had a delivery yesterday afternoon. I don't know if anybody.
That. What was that?
I got a hat.
Oh, just a hat and that big box.
There was something else that came along with it.
Did you spend a lot on just a hat?
There was another item that was in that box.
Yeah.
But so I know Will spoke about his new purchase of a Matthews, and I did the same thing.
Yep.
I did the same thing. I as well shot Hoyt for years, was brand loyal to Hoyt. I owned 2 Hoyts. Prior to that, I did own a Matthews, and just the bow that I have now, I've had for about 13 years.
Wow.
And it's just time for an upgrade.
Yeah.
The technology and the advancement of bows, over 13 years is.
What's in the box? What'd you get?
I ended up getting the Matthews Verdicts.
Did you?
Yeah, same thing as Will got. When Will got his, I saw it and touched it and drew it and looked at it, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go with the Vertex as well. So
what pointed you in that direction? I think it might be worthwhile to explain to people why you chose.
Why I chose Matthews?
Yeah.
Actually, Quest Hunt Co.
Yeah.
There's a partnership between Quest Hunt Co. and Matthews, and so I wanted to support that group. And obviously, I've owned Matthews in the past and knew that you couldn't go wrong with a Matthews bow. And even after I saw and held Will's bow, I did a lot of research, watched YouTube videos, and just did some looking at different bows. I shot the Hoyt Helix, which is a aluminum riser bow. There's the Redworks, which is the carbon riser, and then there's the Helix. And I was going to go with that Hoyt, but whenever I started looking at some videos and statistics and just the look and the sound or the lack of sound, that bow is super
weight.
quiet. Yeah, it's
big difference in weight when you're holding the bow.
Yeah. So I ended up going with that and threw everything on, but I got to wait until
The bow tech gets back from Alaska.
Gets back, and he'll be looking at that and hopefully helping me set that thing up.
More details on that Quest Hunt Co. All of us have signed up. We are competing against other Pennsylvania hunters. Mm-hmm. Anybody can sign up in Pennsylvania. There's a few other states also for our out-of-state listeners. And it's a team competition where we are competing against, again, other hunters in Pennsylvania. And it's total score of an antlered deer in Pennsylvania harvested in the 2019-2020 season.
Yeah, that's great.
And when you sign up, you get a ton of discounts.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
For anything from tree stands to trail cameras to hunting gear. You name it in the hunting industry, top name brands are there. Matthews happens to be the bow this year that they're working with, and you do get a nice discount just for signing up. That's kind of your prize package just for entering the competition to get a discount for all these products.
Yeah.
So even if you lose, you win.
Yeah.
Muddy tree stands is another one that come off the top of my head. They get a discount.
So just your entry fee. There is an entry fee. It's $75, and in doing that, you already got your entry fee back in your discount for the bow
and the savings.
So definitely check out that website. So it's questhuntco.com. If you enter, or when you enter, because we know all of our listeners are definitely going to want to compete along with us, make sure you mention Rut and River Pursuit Podcast when you enter, because there's some more details to work out, but we might have something special in the works going forward for maybe a little side bet of those who enter the contest under Rut and River Pursuit Podcast.
Very cool.
Liking the way this sounds.
Cool. Yeah. So maybe a little side betting going on for our listeners.
Yeah. And just to let everybody know, the hunt does take place in Pennsylvania, but most people know that I am a resident of Maryland. Mm-hmm. Out of state residents can use a non-resident Pennsylvania license and participate in the hunt. So those people, in the Quad State area, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, and you have some area in Pennsylvania that you can hunt, sign up, check out the website, questhuntco.com.
I think that it's awesome that it's just Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Because it would be tough to compete with other states. But the fact that it's, Pennsylvania only is very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy you got the Matthews, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
There's little timelines in life where drastic things change, like big drastic, like when they invented the Whopper Popper. Like things changed for a year or two for everybody. But when Matthews came out with the solo cam and like the DXT and all them, everything changed. Like that was just a giant leap in technology for archery in general. Because I remember when that happened, and the solo cam when it came out was like the most forgiving, amazing thing there was. And to look at one of those now compared to what they have, like I'm a big fan of the Helium, one of my favorite bows they make. It's ridiculous. We've said this before. I don't know where archery can go, but Matthews is definitely one of the ones that likes to push the limits.
Companies keep finding it though. It's amazing.
I keep saying there's no way they can make a better bow.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
And here they go.
Yeah. Now they have basically you can change the draw weight without a bow press. You don't have to change. It goes from I believe 55 to 65 to 75 with just the change in the modules. So you can lay your bow down on the table. You can unscrew the module, put the set of modules in, and you can increase your bow by 10 pounds.
Wow.
Without even turning the limb pockets. So I ended up, I got an 80% let off. I'm shooting I'm shooting a 28-inch draw with 80% let off, and I chose to get a 75-pound bow. My Hoyt was right around 71 or 72 maxed out.
So you have a 300-yard range with that now.
310.
Maybe. We'll see. I'm going to need like an 8-pin sight, but we'll see. I may learn how to bracket a little bit with my sights.
I'm happy for you, though.
Yeah, I'm excited.
After 13 years, it sounded like you're due for nothing.
Yeah, my Hoyt's been good to me. That Alpha Max that I bought it used even. I didn't even buy that new. I bought it used a few years after it came out, and killed a few turkeys and killed lots of doe with it. So I'm kind of miss it, but I have a fondness to this.
But you do that with it. You never get rid of it.
I'm going to keep it.
Yeah, you got to put it on the wall.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it. I actually have an old Ultra Evolution by a Golden Eagle.
Yep.
Had an Ultra Evolution where you had the overdraw that was like 6 inches long. That thing's sitting in my corner of my little hunting room.
Oh yeah, I remember those with the TM Hunter on it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm excited to get that thing when Ryan gets back, and he'll tune it up for me, and we'll get some arrows down range. So,
you won't even be able to see them going anymore.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Catfish, what have you been up to this week?
Before he starts, can I just say how excited I am to have Mr. Catfish?
Well, we didn't
on
mention
the pod.
it, but we are at the Catfish Castle.
Yeah.
And we're down in the basement. We're going to do some fishing after we close up this podcast.
Yeah.
We're going to go get on the lake, have a little fun, and
throw Stevie in because it's 145 degrees.
Yeah.
It is. My
Yeah.
car said 145.
I appreciate it, Brian.
Hey, I'm excited. I'm excited to pod with you.
It's exciting. Yep. It's exciting just to wear a headset again. I've been out for a while, and I don't know. This week's been hot. It's been rough fishing. I did a lot more swimming, jumping off the boat. We went up to the river. Me and Lacey took the dogs up for their 12th birthday, and it wasn't about fishing. We watched some Netflix under the bridge.
Cool.
You know, we anchored up in some shade, laid back in the boat, watched some Netflix, ate a bunch of, snacks, gave the dogs way more than they should have. And we literally just ran a tank of fuel out of the boat just for fun up at Goldsboro on the Susquehanna. And it was...
That's good
we
stuff.
went,
That's awesome.
Yeah, we went fishing. We
That's
anchored
nice.
up on an island and went swimming for a while. Put the life jackets on the dogs so the muskies didn't take them. And... It was nice to just go out. Like, fishing's been really rough because the temperature here in Pennsylvania right now, as we're talking, it's pretty brutal and about to get worse.
Yeah.
Supposed heat index is 112 on Saturday.
Yeah, so
Temperature in the lake here at Lake Mead is 89 with very little oxygen. Fish are very slow. But, the month of June was pretty good. The beginning of the month of June. The month of May was ridiculously good for us. You guys got a chance to come up and do some fishing here. And,
yeah, we've been seeing lots of pictures.
Yeah, I guess I haven't really talked since turkey season. So this week's just literally been about taking the boat out and having fun with it.
You went on something you do every year, but not very often each summer. You went crabbing.
I did go crabbing. I've been out crabbing. I went twice with Chris last year, and it's new to me. And down on Kent Island, right on the other side of the Route 50 bridge. Mm-hmm. I have a buddy, Chris Mueller, I call him Chris Fish, that likes to take me crabbing. My right arm, I'm right-handed, is kind of jacked up, so I just literally drive the boat. And he has a 14-foot fiberglass boat with a 15 on it, with a roller block, so you can do the trout line, 1,200 foot of trout line, and
1,200 feet.
1,200 feet.
Wow.
Yeah, it's out there. And with a 14-foot boat, it takes a while to get to the end.
Absolutely.
Turn around, we just talk on the way back, and then do it again and do it again. I'm getting pretty good at driving a Tiller 14-foot Yamaha that likes to spit and sputter. So it's not exactly, it's a nice motor, but it does pit and putter every now and again, so you got to kind of give it gas so don't shut off.
Yeah, because you're almost at... When you're running those lines, you're just above idle.
Yeah, it's tough. The River Cooter, my boat would probably not be good at it. In idle, it would be 2.6 is as slow as I can go. And we're going way slower than that. But I'm falling in love with crab fishing, man. Going crabbing's fun.
Yeah, it is.
It's a hangout time, just like the river I just said. It's more of just a hangout session but I tell you what, it gets pretty exciting. You get some of them big crabs on there.
Yeah. Now, do you do any crab pots, or you just run a trout line? Or
since I'm new, I don't, but I'm going to. That's what me and Lacey have decided to start to do this ourselves, and that's what me and Lacey are going to do, the collapsible crab pots with taking my boat down.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Now I kind of know more of where to go and what to do. Yeah. And here's the big thing. Like, I know a lot of Marylanders are going to stop following Rutten River when I say this, but I don't eat
I'm not going to stop listening.
I don't eat blue crabs. I it's not that I don't like the taste of them. I don't know. I never was a big fan of like picking at something all day long. I know it's a social event, so I can I'd rather just sit and watch everybody else do it.
Yeah.
But I like catching them.
Yeah.
And my wife loves them. So
win-win.
It's a win-win for me. I mean, I enjoy cooking, so I'll cook them up. But as far as like the crabbing goes down there, it's just like fishing. We've been down there and slayed them, and we've been down there and worked for them. I give those watermen that live down there a lot of credit, because when it's off, it's a grind. I mean, it's not exactly SIG in the Bering Sea, but it's a long day in the heat. Yeah.
The nice part about crabbing, no matter how you're doing it, if you're doing it from a bridge or doing it out on a boat, you're doing whatever form of it, it's kind of has that duck blind-esque.
It does.
You can just hang out. You can, you don't have to be super serious. You didn't, I missed that tap, tap, tap on the line, while you're fishing, or, you can just kind of relax, and there's you can't mess it up.
No.
Either you're going to catch a crab or you're not. But when you're trot line, you can mess it up by missing a crab.
That's what I was going to say. The camaraderie of me telling Chris, he's like, I missed one. I went, man, we ran this line 3 times. You can't miss. Yeah, no, it's fun to bust on each other.
Oh, yeah. And for those who don't know, like a trot line is literally a thin rope, like a paracord size rope. Mm-hmm. Like you said, 1,200 foot, and there's chicken necks every so many feet.
Yeah, whatever you decide to put them.
Yeah, chicken necks or bull lips or
that's
different
got
types of bait.
Yep, it's got 2 heavy chains on the end to keep it down, and then those chains go up to buoys so that you can just run back, put it in the block.
And it's going to come up what you call the block, and you pretty much just, as you go up, the line comes up off the bottom. The crab should be holding on still, and you scoop it quick, and you keep moving on.
That amazes me that they won't let go.
Yeah.
So if
but they get close, they'll let go.
They do, because you can miss them. When they see the surface, they'll drop, and they're gone quick. You wouldn't think a crab's fast, but they're quick.
There's a certain my wife's grandfather used to crab a lot, and he was telling me there's a certain way, depending on how they're holding on to the chicken neck, that determines which direction they'll
to guess which way they're going to scoop.
Yeah,
I believe it.
Yeah. You need to talk to him and find out what direction.
I can't remember what it was.
I'm too new to know. I just look down and go, "There's one. There's one." And it's really cool. It's a pole with a fishnet at the end, but it's metal.
Yeah.
And sometimes Chris can grab 1 or 2, and then it just depends on where it is.
That net's like a chicken wire almost basket, so they don't hold on to it. You can just pop them off.
You know what I find the hardest thing about crabbing, honestly, is while we're going back, I like to practice the 2D taxidermy and get a picture of one. Mm-hmm. And do you remember the old game barrel monkeys? When you try to grab a blue crab out of the basket and pick him up, they all grab a hold of each other, and you have 4 or 5 or 6 crabs. And I don't care how much you shake or tell them to let go. They don't.
They don't listen.
So I can't imagine one of them getting a hold of your finger, because they don't let go.
That's funny.
Yeah, I have had blood drawn.
Really?
From blue crab. When we go down to Indian River, we have a half a crab pot, and we go out and we soak it. So we take on the back, I think it's through Hobith Bay. We go back there and just drop it off, and then go out a couple days later and pull it up, and there are a couple times, get a couple, and you're on the kayak and you got to manage a half of a crab pot, and you got the basket.
Ooh.
I've gotten
you do it from a kayak.
I don't take any tackle out. I just have the basket and the crab pot, and then a couple days later we'll go back out and get it. But I've had blood drawn from a blue crab. Yep.
I'm taking Stevie. Do you remember when we're going to do this again? When we were in Florida, do you remember the lizard we put on your ear?
It bit me.
Yeah, we're going to do that with a blue crab. And see
oh, jeez.
That lizard
that may give you a split ear.
It might.
This was like a 3-inch.
He
lizard.
was mean though,
and we stuck him on Stevie's ear, and he would not let go.
Oh meanest lizard ever.
No, man, that's it. Summer's been pretty good. Doing a lot of fishing, trying to get some stuff done around here, hanging out with the old man. The crow maker.
That's awesome.
He's actually been some of the highlights of my summer so far.
Cool.
He's been down 3 times, which is the most he's ever been down here.
Wow.
And he caught his personal best 6.7 pound largemouth.
There you go.
On a 1.5-inch green Mr. Twister fishing for crappies. And this thing just grabbed it, and he told me, he said, "I don't think this is a crappie." And I heard the reel, and it was zzz, and I was going, "You're stuck on the bottom, bud. The boat's drifting." And I looked up, and I went, "No, we're on anchor." No, that's a fish. I had to get the net out. But you know what? To see the smile on his face to hold that fish up was that was the best part of the whole summer.
That's
really,
a big bass.
It was a big one.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy watching every time I get home. go through the Facebook and the Instagrams and take a look. So I enjoy following your summer and seeing the fish you've been pulling out. So
this was a lot like when me and you went out last year. Remember the hot day we went out and I just gave up, took a nap.
Yeah.
You were relentless till you caught another one.
I did. You said drag a creature bait on the bottom, and that's what I did for about 2.5 hours.
Yeah, as slow as you can move it.
Yeah.
Yep, as slow as you can go.
Nice. Stevie, what have you been up to?
I just got back from the beach again. Yeah.
The same beach?
Yeah. Well, I was at this beach earlier this year.
Okay.
In North Carolina.
Wait a minute, back up.
Yeah.
How many months of vacation do you get every year? Because I
need to work where you work.
Yeah, every time I talk to you or look on the koozie, you're on vacation.
So what happens is like all my vacation I take basically within 6 weeks. I don't get 6 weeks, but it's like I just noticed, I barely have anything left, a couple days here and there. But we take it all at once, it seems.
That's a good break, though.
Memorial Day and the 4th of July. In between that is when.
Well, I assume with the kids, too. I mean, during the summer months, they're off of school and the schedule's a little bit more advantageous.
Yeah. But we're not at home hardly at all during the summer because it's traveling to see family, camping, vacation, whatever. But, yeah, so it was back at North Carolina. And I talked a few weeks ago on the Current. It was the same. I think it was the same episode that Bucky was going off about a hashtag crappie. Yeah.
Oh, I hashtagged a few things that says crappie. If you haven't noticed,
it wasn't bass, was it?
It was everything but crappie. I think I was eating like a hamburger at McDonald's once just to see if he'd see it.
Oh my! I had a question about a guide service. What do you tip a fishing guide? Because I've never been on one.
So this last time you went out on a charter?
I went out on a charter, and there was 3 of us: myself and my father-in-law and my brother-in-law. And I don't know, maybe talked with 1,000 guides at the outdoor show, and nobody just like takes your word for it that you're going to show up. Like, you got to give a deposit. You got to, unless you know someone. Like I'm not going to give the name of this service because I honestly don't know if they were good or bad. I have no reference point. So I'm just going to tell the story, and you guys can tell me whether they were good or bad. If they were good, then great. If not, then
we'll get on with it.
But anyways, so I'm trying to book this, and there's a different pace down south. So months ago, I emailed this guy and said, "Hey, we're coming down, and you got any days open?" "Oh yeah, we got days open. We have an AM trip open on Sunday. You want it?" I said, "Yep, I'll take it." I said, "Okay, the captain will call you Saturday afternoon to give you the details." And that was it. Okay, so a couple weeks go by. Just want to make sure we're on pace. Yeah. Do I need to bring anything? What's the total cost? All those normal questions. Yeah. Oh, the captain will call you Saturday evening. Okay, so while we're driving down, the captain did call and he answered my questions and confirmed to be there, and confirmed the price, which kind of had me. A guy like me, a little nervous, shaky. But a little shaky. But we met him we met him at the boat launch, and the day just started out bad because
what time did they have you meet you there?
7:00.
Okay.
So this is this is. Again, there's a different
You've been up for
sense
3
of
hours.
urgency.
In his defense, that could be tide driven.
Some of it was, but there's a different sense of urgency in the South, which I happen to
enjoy your own vacation.
Yeah, that kind of bodes well with my personality. But while we were standing there waiting, we see this guy pulling up in a boat. Nice boat, big center console, rods everywhere, just huge, gigantic, beautiful boat. And he unhitches it and backs it down. Boat slides off. He pulls the truck out, and the boat's drifting out. And this guy gets out, just kind of sashaying down to the end of the dock, and the boat keeps drifting. And He's just walking, nice and leisurely pace, gets to the end of the dock, throws his hands up and says, I've done this 10,000 times.
It wasn't tied off.
No! The boat got away from him.
And that was the boat you were supposed to be fishing on?
Well, that's what we thought initially. And, this had to be like an $80,000, $90,000 boat.
Jeez.
And it just drifts out. And the guy's, well, I did that 10,000 times. This is the first. And he walks up and starts talking to us. I'm going to try to get a hold of this guy and that guy. And, we're just watching this boat just drift away. But luckily, our captain shows up, and he was out trying to get bait. So we took this guy to his boat. And got him situated. So that was kind of a relief when the guy says, "Who are you waiting on?" And we told him, and it wasn't like, "Oh, that's me."
Yeah, it sounds like a 7 a.m. moonshine. Right there.
But our captain showed up a couple minutes late because he was trying to get bait, and they cast net all their bait. He couldn't find bait, and looking back, that was probably a bad sign. So we spent the first 45 minutes trying to catch bait, which he didn't charge us for that or count that towards our trip time. Yeah. So I got to learn, see how he was casting bait.
Cast net better?
No.
No. Well, you always say your wife's better at throwing a cast net
really
than you are. So
yeah.
I thought you'd get some tips from a pro.
No. But he wouldn't, again, like this was very new for me because he would not, he would cast net bait, bring the net up, dump it on the boat, and like I wasn't supposed to help him sort
touch
it
anything,
he's just like, I got it, bud, I got it.
I always find that weird because I'm a hands-on person too.
It was extremely weird, and it took a lot of throws for him because he just couldn't find. Like he was looking for a specific type of bait fish for menhaden.
Do you know what for menhaden?
Yeah, and he couldn't. Pogies, they call them down there, but he couldn't. It took a while to find the pogies. So we got the pogies, and then went to our first. And I sent you guys a video of us heading towards our first spot, and I'm ready to fish. And I didn't take any of my own equipment. He said we didn't need to. Against my better judgment, I didn't take any of my own equipment. But he had nice stuff. He had decent pen reels and some pretty nice rods. But so we get to the first spot and we anchor up, and just he says, "Okay, we're going to anchor here." And just by instinct, I go to reach for the anchor because that's what you do
when someone says,
he's like, I got it. You don't have to work. Like, and I'm getting frustrated because, this is boring. And then he hands us, so we anchor up here at this spot near this bulkhead. And again, this is like backwater. It's not,
right.
It's inshore fishing, but we're going through grass and, these, not trails, but almost like wide water trails through grass. And there's houses around, and we get to this one bulkhead, and we anchor up, and he says, this is a red spot. And I'm just dying to catch a redfish. And that's really why, that was the number one reason why I booked this charter. And we started there and stayed there 15, 20 minutes. My brother-in-law had a bite that he missed, and that was it. He hands me a rod with a pogie on it and says, and even casted it out. Like, oh, come on. He cast it out, and he's like, we're just going to let him sit here for a while. Like, okay. So I'm just sitting there holding the rod that somebody baited and casted for me. And then
Stevie's 5 years old again.
Yeah. Like, okay,
now
Dad,
you know why 5-year-olds quit so quick.
Yeah. So then he says, okay, we can start to bring them in and then cast them out again. I think he could see that it was starting to get, like, this wasn't really my cup of tea. So he, was okay. You want to drag it towards you really slow, and then just cast it back out and let it set. We weren't burning the baits by any stretch. Yeah. That spot, nothing. So that's
a red spot.
Yeah, that's the red spot. He's like,
don't go to the red spot.
In another 2 hours, there'll be 50 boats here. That spot, nothing. Next spot, nothing. I get snagged 40 times.
Oh. This was just like
this was under a pier.
Yeah. So even if he baited it, you still got snagged.
This was under a pier. That spot, nothing.
Sounds like a Stevie spot.
Yeah. Yep. Next spot, patch of grass, nothing. Next spot, another patch of grass.
Now, how much time has gone by?
So right now, we started fishing We started fishing around 8 o'clock, and now we're at 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Nothing. So we ended up hitting 7 spots and nothing.
Wow.
And he's trying to find us. He's trying to put us on fish. He's telling us exactly, where to cast, and we're doing it. And he's fishing along with us.
Yeah.
And he's coming up, with the same result as us, which was.
And I'm sure as a guide, he's probably frustrated mentally inside.
Yeah.
He's just not letting on.
And I could tell, you could tell he's just starting to get. I mean, and I think we tried 7 or 8 different spots, and not even a bite. And this was he told me we'd be out for 4.5 hours. And we started at 7. So technically, if he would have had bait, we should have been done at 11:30.
Yeah, lunchtime.
Yeah, at the latest 11:30. So I'm trying not to look at the time, because I don't want him to look at the time. Right. Although I know he's looking at the time. So it was like 11:30, and we got nothing. And I don't mind that. Like that, I get it. Like that, I get skunked 90% of the time when I go out.
That's part of fishing.
I know. Yeah. But the people with me don't. Like they don't fish a whole lot. Like they get it. They've been skunked before, but you're paying someone, and the impression is you're paying someone. We should be on the fish. Let's get on the fish. So it was about time to go in, and we started heading. He kept saying, I got one more spot, this spot, got one more spot. Finally, we got this one more spot, and it was literally 2 minutes from where we took off from. And it was in between 2 boat docks, and we're going right up against the bank into this boat dock. And these kids in this boat are just pulling out, like no more than 10 yards from the bank where we're fishing.
I wouldn't have think you caught anything there.
Yeah, so he baits us up and casts them out there. And my brother-in-law has a bite, which is like, oh, that's okay. That's good.
Is that
news.
what that feels like?
Yeah, that's good news. And flounder bite a couple different ways. They bite differently than a largemouth, or than a smallmouth or whatever, or striper even. So I cast out, near the bank towards the dock, and I get hit, and it hits hard, and the rod's bending, and he says, all right, bud, you got a red, because he thought it was a redfish.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm reeling, and there's drag on it. It's a nice fish, and the fish comes to the surface, and you can see the side, and he said, dude, that's a trout. And I told the guy, I said, shut up, that's a trout. Because I saw the size of the fish. And we get it on the boat, and it's a 4 pound plus trout. It is my personal best sea trout.
That's awesome.
How long was it?
We didn't measure it. We didn't measure it. It was 4 something. It was, I don't know. It was 20 plus inches.
Yeah.
It was a
good fish.
It was a big trout. Yeah. And so I'm just, it's all worth it now.
Yeah, right.
This is the last spot. And by now it's 12 o'clock or something like that. So we're way over the time we should have been done. And my father-in-law misses one. My brother-in-law has a couple bites. And then I get hit again and hook up. And it's a flounder. And this is another nice keeper flounder. And it actually had, I sent you guys a picture, it actually had an albino tail. So it was a pretty cool looking tail. And our captain said that was the first he'd ever seen like that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was cool. So I'm, 2/3 of the way into my Carolina inshore slam there, wanting the red. The red didn't happen, but we did boat another fish. My father-in-law hooked up to a trout, and it was 5+ pounds. And this is all in the same area. This is all within 10, 15 yards. And it was 5+ pounds. We get it on the boat, and I'm, just screaming, jumping up and down. And I get, it's in the net there, and everybody's looking at it. So I grab a hold of it, and I, grab it under the gill plate, because they've got teeth. And even the gill plate on them's pretty sharp. But I, get it under the gill plate. And I go to hand it to my father-in-law, and he either wasn't paying attention or didn't have a good hold on it or something, and that thing flopped right out of the boat. And there were guys watching. There were guys watching.
I'm pretty sure I saw that on. I saw that on Instagram.
These guys
Somebody was
watching were
videoing
just like, oh, and everybody, and we're all, oh, and the captains, what happened? Like, it just slipped, you know. And the silver lining to it was, for some reason, they're spawning late this year. And so that 5-pound fish was full of eggs.
Yeah.
She was loaded, with 100,000 eggs or something like that. So it was catch and release. We would have liked to have got a picture of it. He said they'll boat maybe 12 fish a year that size. And this guy fishes every day.
Wow.
So it was a good class fish.
What time did he finally get done, call it?
We caught right after that. Right shortly after. So it was about 12:30. Yeah. So we went back to the dock and we had 2 fish in the boat, and it started to rain. So we're back at the dock about 12:30.
So you had a spot and they had the flounder,
the
spotted
trout.
Trout, okay.
Yeah. It's trout and the flounder, and it was funny when we caught that first trout. Some folks standing on the dock yelled, "What'd you catch?" And the captain yells, "Croaker!" So that was kind of good. But yeah, so he filleted them for us, and we got some that trout, sea trout. The fillets on them are just on any 4-pound fish. I guess you're gonna have big fillets.
Yeah.
But man, if you can fillet a trout, it was a tank. So he cooked it and baked it in this lemon butter Creole seasoning stuff. It was good.
Yeah.
It was really, and I never eat fish. I'll eat fish twice a year at best.
So I'm the same
Wow.
way. I'm the same
But
way.
it was,
That's something I learned about you tonight.
Oh, I know.
All the fishing that you do.
He'll anytime I've caught trout with him, he gives them to me.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep. I don't like it. I don't like to eat fish. I don't know why, but I'd rather eat a meatloaf or something.
You started your story with you didn't know whether or not what to think.
Yeah.
Honestly, from being out with a lot of them, I think the guy, my personal opinion probably would have been he started off wrong with me by showing up with no bait. But
he had some.
But that kind of
enough.
bait is hard to keep alive.
Yeah.
So, but honestly, by the end of the day, tried every last thing he could do. He stayed out later. He still took the time with the rain to fillet your fish. Mm-hmm. I don't think the guy did a bad job at all, considering fishing was probably tough. He went above and beyond to try to make sure you guys had some kind of an experience.
And I caught, and there's a picture we'll share eventually, but it was my personal best trout. I mean, I have hooked trout that big, but never been able to land them.
And if that 5-pounder wouldn't have flopped over,
oh boy,
you would have at least had a picture of that.
Yeah. We would have kept it.
Oh, okay,
but
all right.
It sounds like a pretty good job. I'd agree with Catfish.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Catching or when you're hunting, killing game, if that guide is working his butt off and it looks like he's actually trying to be productive with that work, and it's not make busy work to make the day go.
And not every guide has to communicate with me. Not all guides are very talkative.
But
they have to have at least a medial ground with me that at least we can laugh together. We don't have to conversate all day long. Guys that'll make you laugh all day long make fishing better when it sucks. But
he wasn't like that. He was more. He was, we would, he'd say, change the way you're casting, or everything that we talked about was was about the fishing experience. So it wasn't what do you do for a living? And there's no small talk. It was all let's fish. And so he worked really hard, and I felt. But you
felt comfortable with him on a boat. Then he did his job.
I felt bad because you could tell, that you got 3 guys. We're not from around there.
That's a fishing guide's life, though. Fishing's fishing.
Yeah, and that's what I said. He said, "Hey guys, I'm sorry it was such a grind there till the end." I said, "Yeah, bud, that's."
I've been on trips all night long when I was kind of like a second deckhand all night long catfishing.
Yeah,
and we never caught a fish all night.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to look at somebody and take their money, but that's fishing.
Yeah.
So
I did tip them 20%.
Good.
I thought you were going to say $20.
I was going to say,
No.
I have 2 dimes in my pocket. You're welcome to them.
So if you're wondering, I did tip them 20% because at the end of the day, I came back with 2 fish. So I was pretty happy.
That's cool.
But yeah,
that's cool.
You have a pretty spectacular family. I'm proud of you that your wife likes to go do this camping. I remember sitting with you and you telling me your New Year's resolution was to get your kids in the outdoor more. I'm proud of you. But to have her just like it seems like a lot of your vacations lately are fishing or fishing oriented, camping oriented.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
We did do some shrimping while we were down there, cast net, and my wife. She hooked a blue crab in the cast net, and dude, you wouldn't believe how hard it was getting
that was
that
a
thing
big mess.
I thought I was gonna be taking blue crab home because it was a pain.
Well, that's next week we leave for Maine, and that's one of the things I'm worried about. Lacey, we're going to Maine for 10 days or something, and Lacey booked. And I've always wanted to learn how to lobster fish with the guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to go lobster fishing.
Oh, that's cool.
And I guess you got to have a good bit of arm strength to do some of that with the pots, and I'm worried about the right arm. But I told Lacey, I said I'll tear it to catch my first lobster because it'd be just super cool to go up and catch your own lobster, bait your traps, catch your first lobster, cook it, eat it like through the whole thing. Because for me, I've never eaten a full lobster. I've had parts of lobsters, but I've never had the full lobster experience.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
So I totally get catching with doing the whole new crab thing and going lobster.
Yeah,
it's very easy to get addicted to something new, like all these decoys and all these things. And now I'm gonna have crab pots and trout lines, and I get it.
Well, if I know you'll overcome. You'll get up there and you'll make it happen. That's awesome.
I'm gonna catch one of them blue lobsters they have. Them weird rare ones that you always see. Right?
Yeah.
Well, boys, as Will likes to say, I think we did this one justice.
Absolutely.
Stevie, how would you tell us about this month's closing sponsor?
This episode was brought to you in part by Moses Family Jerky. Mm-hmm. You got to head on over to mfjerky.com. Check out everything they got going on.
mfjerky.com.
Jerky, snack sticks, the coffees. They got it all. Check it out. Make sure you use that promo code
Jerky Pursuits 15.
Get 15% off your entire order. The whole website, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Whole website, boys.
Love me some MF Jerky.
Brian, how would you tell our listeners where they can find us?
Tell us, Brian.
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and the Twitters at Rutten River Pursuits Podcast. You can find us on the World Wide Web at RuttenRiverPursuitsPodcast.com. Don't forget YouTube at Rutten River Pursuits Podcast. And obviously, you can find us on any podcast app such as Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcast.
Perfect. It's been another epic week, boys.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Enjoyed it.
Getting the outdoors, having some fun.
Rig 'em weedless.
See ya.
Get outdoors.
Oh, was this the Buttonwood trip?
Yeah.
You went to Buttonwood.
I went to Buttonwood.
I heard a lot about
It's high class camping. That's why Pike went there.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
Is it pretty high class?
It's a nice.
You got to fish with a tie on.
Like suit and tie camping.
Yeah, they they took the restriction of the cummerbund off. Now it's just a tie.
Do they allow pop-ups there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean there is some primitive tent camping there.
You know what I find the hardest thing about crabbing, honestly, is while we're going back, I like to practice the 2D taxidermy and get a picture of one. Mm-hmm. And do you remember the old game barrel monkeys? When you try to grab a blue crab out of the basket and pick him up, they all grab a hold of each other, and you have 4 or 5 or 6 crabs. And I don't care how much you shake or tell them to let go, they don't.
They don't listen.
So I can't imagine one of them getting a hold of your finger because they don't let go.
That's funny.
Yeah, I have had blood drawn, and I chose to get a 75-pound bow. My Hoyt was right around 71 or 72 maxed out.
So you have a 300-yard range with that now.
310.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to need like an 8-pin sight, but we'll see. I may learn how to bracket a little bit with my sights.
I'm happy for you, though.
Yeah, I'm excited.
it was funny. We caught that first trout. Some folks standing on the dock yelled, "What'd you catch?" And the captain yells, "Croaker!" That was kind of